You're standing in a hospital room. The air smells like antiseptic and old coffee. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, indifferent. In the bed, someone you love is breathing, slow, shallow, uneven. Each inhale feels like a miracle. Each exhale, a theft. You glance at the clock on the wall. The second hand doesn't move faster. It doesn't care. It ticks the same as it did when you were 10 years old, eating cereal in front of Saturday morning cartoons. The same as it did when you got the job, lost the job, held your child for the first time. But here, now, each tick feels heavier. Each one steals something. You want to reach up, grab that clock by its plastic casing, and yank the batteries out. You want time to stop. It won't. That's the first truth about time. Before physics, before equations, before black holes or quantum foam, time is felt in the body, in the chest, in the throat, in the hollow behind your ribs when you realize it's running out. When you were small, summer lasted forever. Remember? You'd wake up sticky with sweat, the sun already high, the world buzzing with cicadas and sprinklers and the smell of cut grass. You'd ride your bike until your legs burned. You'd eat popsicles that dripped down your wrists. You'd lie on your back in the yard and watch clouds turn into dragons, then castles, then nothing at all. And somehow, impossibly, the sun still hadn't set. Time stretched like taffy. It bent. It waited for you. Now, you blink and the weekend's gone. You turn around and your kid's taller than you. You swear you just paid rent and somehow it's due again. What happened? It's not that time sped up. It's that you changed. Your brain stopped recording every moment like a wide-eyed child. Adulthood is a blur of routines, commutes, emails, laundry, bills. Novelty fades. Repetition dulls the edges. And when your brain isn't laying down new memories, time feels like it slipped through your fingers while you weren't looking. Scientists call this proportional theory. To a 5-year-old, 1 year is 1/5 of their entire life. It's an eternity. To a 50-year-old, 1 year is just 2%, a sliver, a blink. But that's not the whole story, because sometimes, in moments of terror, joy, grief, wonder, time slows again. You're driving. A deer leaps into the road. Your foot slams the brake, and suddenly everything stretches. The world goes syrup slow. You see the glint of its eyes, the arc of its leap, the way your hands grip the wheel like stone. You hear the squeal of tires like a scream held underwater. Later you'll say, it felt like forever. It didn't. It was maybe 2 seconds. But your brain, flooded with adrenaline, snapping into hyper-alert mode, recorded every millisecond like a high-definition film. More memories, more data, more sensation. So when you replay it, it feels long, heavy, eternal. Time isn't a river, not really. It's a story your brain tells you, edited, compressed, stretched, colored by emotion. And your body? It keeps its own clock. Not the kind with numbers, the kind that knows when to wake you before the alarm, the kind that makes your stomach growl at noon even if you skipped breakfast, the kind that drags you into sleep when the sun dips below the horizon, even if you're in a windowless room, even if you fight it with coffee and screens. That's your circadian rhythm. A biological metronome built into your cells, tuned over millions of years to the spin of the earth. It's why jet lag feels like a sickness, why night shift workers battle exhaustion like a tide, why some people are larks chirping at dawn and others are owls wide-eyed past midnight. Your body doesn't care what the wall clock says. It cares about light, temperature, hormones, melatonin rising like a moon inside you. Disrupt that rhythm and your immune system stumbles. Your mood sours. Your thoughts turn sluggish. You age faster. You get sicker. Time isn't just out there. It's woven into your flesh, your blood, your bones. You are a walking clock. But here's the strangest part. Even when you're perfectly still, lying in bed, eyes closed, breath even, time doesn't feel still. Your mind races. You replay yesterday's argument. You dread tomorrow's meeting. You wonder what she meant when she said that. You planned a vacation you'll never take. You mourn the person you used to be. Past, future, ghosts and mirages. The present, that razor-thin slice of now, you barely touch it. Neuroscientists say your conscious now lasts about 3 seconds. A breath, a heartbeat, a sigh. Everything else, memory, anticipation, story. You are never fully here. You're always slipping, backward into regret, forward into worry. Time doesn't just move around you. It moves through you. It sculpts you. It haunts you. And then there are the moments when time vanishes. Not slows, not stretches, vanishes. You're lost in a song. You're laughing so hard your ribs ache. You're painting, writing, dancing, building, and suddenly hours have passed. You didn't notice. You didn't count. You didn't care. Psychologists call this flow. Athletes call it the zone. Mystics call it presence. Whatever you call it, it's the closest thing we have to timelessness. No past, no future, just this. The brushstroke, the chord, the perfect arc of a basketball leaving your fingertips. In those moments, you're not thinking about time. You're living inside eternity. We build monuments to time, calendars, clocks, hourglasses, apps that count our steps and sleep. We tattoo dates on our skin. We bury time capsules. We take photos, thousands, as if we could trap moments in digital amber. But time laughs. It slips every net. You can't hold it, can't buy more. Billionaires, beggars, same fate. Kings, poets, prophets, dust. Time doesn't care about your resume, your followers, your wealth. It only asks, what did you do with it? Still, we lie. I don't have time, we say, as if it's ours to keep. But time isn't a resource, it's a medium, a condition, like air. Like gravity, you don't have time. You are in time. You unfold within it. You are made of it. So before we talk about Einstein, before we bend space, before we dive into black holes or quantum foam, we need to sit here, in this room, with this breath, with this heartbeat, because every equation, every theory, every cosmic revelation about time means nothing if it doesn't echo in the human heart, if it doesn't tremble in the hand of the mother rocking her baby at 3 a.m., whispering, "Please don't grow up too fast." If it doesn't ache in the throat of the man staring at his father's empty chair, if it doesn't sing in the chest of the teenager dancing barefoot in the rain, not caring how late it is. This is where time lives, not in textbooks, in tears, in laughter, in waiting rooms, in last goodbyes, in first steps, in slow dances, in silent dawns. Time is the quiet thief, the patient sculptor, the relentless river, the gentle lullaby. It is the first thing we notice when we're born, the cold, the light, the noise, and the last thing we surrender when we die. And between those two moments, we spend our lives trying to understand it, trying to outrun it, trying to love it. So let's begin, not with a clock, not with a formula, but with a breath, yours, right now. Feel it. That's time, not measured, not counted, just lived. We'll meet Newton soon. We'll let Einstein shatter the sky. We'll stand at the edge of black holes and peer into the quantum abyss. But first, we honor this, the human heartbeat, the fragile, fleeting, magnificent now. Because if we forget this, If we turn time into just another variable in an equation, we lose the very thing that makes the question worth asking. What is time? It's the sound of your life ticking away. And it's beautiful, and it's terrifying, and it's yours. Before there were clocks, before there were hearts to break, before there was even light, there was a moment. Not a moment like you know, not sunrise, not a birthday, not the chime of an old grandfather clock in a quiet hallway. This moment had no before, no after, not yet. It was the first tick, the universe's very first breath. 13.8 billion years ago, give or take a cosmic blink, everything that is, was, or ever will be was squeezed into a point smaller than the period at the end of this sentence, hotter than fire, denser than madness, silent, still, waiting. And then it exploded. Not like a bomb in a movie, not with fireballs and shockwaves racing through empty space, because there was no space, there was no through, there was no empty. The Big Bang didn't happen somewhere, it happened everywhere. And with it, time began, not as a river, not as a line, not as something you could measure with sticks or stones or stars. Time began as a direction, a leaning, a tilt in the fabric of reality itself, from hot to cold, from dense to sparse, from chaos to something else. Something we would one day call order. In the first second, yes, second, though no clock existed to count it, the universe ballooned faster than thought. Space stretched, energy cooled, particles blinked into being like sparks in the dark. Quarks found each other, held hands, became protons, became neutrons, tiny, invisible, unimaginably important. Because those little knots of matter, they were the first seeds, the first ingredients, the first notes in a symphony that would one day become galaxies, planets, oceans, eyes that could look up and wonder, what is time? For hundreds of thousands of years after that first explosion, the universe was a thick, glowing fog. Light couldn't travel. It bounced. It scattered. It screamed against the walls of its own prison. But then, as space stretched, as things cooled, something miraculous happened. Atoms formed. Hydrogen, helium, simple, quiet, patient. And suddenly, light was free. It burst forth in a blaze so bright, so pure, so all-encompassing, we can still see it today. We call it the cosmic microwave background. It's not a picture, it's a whisper, a fossil. The afterglow of creation, painted across the entire sky, in every direction you look, if you have the right eyes to see it. And in that light, time had already been working. Cooling, expanding, arranging. Stars came next, not one by one, not gently. They erupted, violent, hungry, brilliant, inside clouds of gas that gravity slowly, lovingly crushed into fire. And in their cores, alchemy. Hydrogen became helium. Helium became carbon. Carbon became oxygen. Oxygen became iron. Each step a little slower, a little heavier, a little more costly. Stars don't burn like wood. They don't use up. Fuel like a car. They transform it. They cook it. They forge the very elements that would one day become your bones, your blood, the air in your lungs. And when they die, they explode. Supernovas, brighter than entire galaxies, hurling their guts across space, seeding the darkness with the ingredients for planets, for life, for beings who would one day invent the word yesterday. Time didn't care. It didn't celebrate the birth of stars. It didn't mourn their deaths. It just flowed. Or maybe, and this is important, it didn't flow at all. Maybe it just was. Like a film strip. Every frame already there. Every moment, from the Big Bang to the last fading photon, already printed. Already real. We just move through it. One frame at a time. That's one way to see it. But from inside the film, from our tiny, blinking, breathing perspective, it feels like a river. And that river, it has a current, a direction. You've heard the word entropy. It sounds cold, technical, like something from a textbook you skimmed before an exam. But entropy, it's the reason time has a direction at all. Imagine a sandcastle, perfect, symmetrical, delicate turrets, smooth moats. Now imagine the tide rolls in, waves crash, the castle crumbles, sand scatters, disorder rises. That's entropy, not destruction, not chaos for chaos's sake, just spreading out, energy diffusing, things becoming more probable, more likely, more messy. In the early universe, everything was packed tight, hot, uniform, low entropy. Now, stars burn out, black holes swallow light, galaxies drift apart, heat fades, entropy rises. And time walks hand in hand with entropy. We remember the past, not the future, because the past had lower entropy. Your coffee cools. It doesn't spontaneously heat up. Eggs scramble. They don't unscramble. You grow older. You don't grow younger. Why? Because the universe is slowly, patiently, inevitably forgetting how to be ordered. And time is just the name we give to that forgetting. Planets formed in the wreckage of dead stars. Dust clumped, rock hardened, ice melted, oceans rose. On at least one of those rocks, ours, something impossible happened. Life. Tiny. Slimy. Hungry. It didn't know time. Not like we do. But it felt it. It learned to follow the sun. To sleep when it was dark. To bloom when it was warm. To hibernate when it was cold. It built rhythms into its cells. Into its genes. Into its very chemistry. Circadian clocks. Annual migrations, generational cycles. Life didn't invent time, but it learned to dance with it. And then, after billions of years of trial, error, extinction, rebirth, a strange new creature stood up. Hairless, curious, terrified. It looked at the sky and saw patterns. The moon waxed and waned. The stars wheeled. The seasons turned, so it carved notches into bone. It stacked stones in circles. It watched shadows creep across temple floors. It invented calendars. It named days. It measured years. It tried, desperately, beautifully, to trap time in numbers, to make it knowable, to make it safe. But time is not safe. It is not tame. It is not kind. Civilizations rose and time buried them. Pharaohs built pyramids to defy decay, and time turned them to tourist attractions. Romans paved roads that stretched across continents, and time grew grass through the cracks. Libraries burned, songs faded, languages vanished. Time doesn't erase, it absorbs. It folds the past into itself like pages in a book no one reads anymore. And yet, look up. The light from those ancient stars, it's still traveling. The atoms in your hand, forged in supernovas older than Earth, the rhythm of your breath. Tuned to a planet spinning in space, circling a star, hurtling through a galaxy that itself is racing away from everything else. You are not separate from cosmic time. You are made of it. You are a living fossil of the Big Bang, a walking echo of dying stars, a breathing monument to entropy. We like to think time is something that happens to us, but it's something we're made from. The calcium in your bones, cooked inside a star that died before the sun was born. The iron in your blood, spat out by a supernova that lit up the sky when dinosaurs still walked. The oxygen you breathe, forged in the hearts of giants, red, swollen ancient suns that lived fast and died messy. You are stardust with a deadline. And out there, beyond our little blue dot, time keeps sculpting. Galaxies collide, slow, graceful, devastating. Black holes swallow stars, not with malice, but with gravity's quiet hunger. Nebulas bloom, glowing clouds of gas where new stars are born, even as old ones die. And all of it unfolds within time. Or perhaps, and this is the quiet, creeping thought that will haunt us later, perhaps time unfolds from it. Perhaps time is not the stage. Perhaps it's the actor. We stand now, you and I, at a very strange moment in cosmic history. The universe is middle-aged, not young and wild, not old and cold, just here. Stars still burn, life still clings, questions still echo. But the tide of entropy is rising. One day, far, far in the future, the last star will flicker out. Black holes will evaporate, slowly over trillions upon trillions of years, leaking away their mass like sand through an hourglass. The universe will grow cold, dark, quiet, empty, not with a bang, not with a whimper, but with a sigh. A long, slow, final sigh, as the last bits of usable energy spread out and out and out, until nothing is left to change. Until entropy wins, until time has nothing left to do. What happens then? Does time stop? Does it yawn, bored, and wander off? Or does it keep ticking into an endless, featureless void where nothing happens ever again? Physicists argue. Philosophers weep. Poets write elegies to the cosmos, but no one knows. Because time, cosmic time, doesn't care what we think. It doesn't need us. It was here before us. It will be here after us, long after. And yet, here we are, alive, breathing, wondering, in this thin, miraculous slice of cosmic history, where stars still shine, where life still dares to ask questions, where entropy hasn't won yet. We get to stand up and look around and say, what is time? Not as slaves to it. Not as victims of it, but as children of it, made from its fire, shaped by its rhythm, haunted by its passage, and, if we're brave enough, in love with its mystery. The universe didn't have to make beings who could ask this question. It didn't have to give us memory, anticipation, regret, hope. It could have stayed silent, cold, empty, but it didn't. It made us. To feel time, to fear it, to measure it, to mourn it, to love inside it. So when you look up at the night sky and see those ancient points of light, know this: you are not small, you are not insignificant. You are time, becoming aware of itself. The universe waking up and whispering its own name. It began with a daydream. A young man, not yet famous, not yet feared, not yet the face on every physics textbook, sat at his desk in a patent office in Bern, Switzerland, papers stacked, sunlight slanting through the window, the hum of bureaucracy all around him. He wasn't supposed to be thinking about the universe. He was supposed to be reviewing applications for electromagnetic devices, for better telegraphs, for synchronized clocks, for machines that measured this, calibrated that. But his mind, it wandered. What if, he thought, you could ride alongside a beam of light, not near it, not almost it? With it, what would you see? Would the light wave appear frozen? like a surfer balanced perfectly on the crest of an ocean swell, suspended in midair. He chased the thought, and it broke everything. Before him, for over 200 years, the world ran on Newton's time. Solid, absolute, unshakable. Time, said Newton, was a river that flowed the same for everyone, everywhere. Whether you were standing still on Earth, or racing through space on a comet, or floating near the edge of a black hole, time ticked at the same steady universal beat. 1 second here, 1 second there, always the same. Clocks might be wrong, people might be late, but time itself, never. It was the silent conductor of the cosmic orchestra, invisible, impartial, eternal. And for centuries, it worked. Ships sailed by it, empires rose by it, apples fell by it. Until Einstein. Until the pattern clerk with wild hair and wilder thoughts looked at the sky and whispered, "What if time isn't a river? What if it's elastic?" The first crack came with light. Scientists had known for a while that light always moved at the same speed, no matter what. If you're standing still and shine a flashlight, light races away at about 300,000 kilometers every second. Fine. But what if you're running while you shine it, say, at half the speed of light? Common sense says the beam should leave you at 1.5 times light speed. It doesn't. It leads you at exactly the same speed. 300,000 kilometers per second. Always. No matter how fast you run, no matter how hard you chase it, no matter what, light doesn't care about your speed. It doesn't care about your direction. It doesn't care about your feelings. It just is. And that broke Newton's clock. Because if light's speed is fixed, absolute, then something else has to bend. And that something was time. Imagine 2 lightning bolts. One strikes the front of a moving train. One strikes the back. You're standing on the platform, watching. To you, they strike at the same time. Simultaneous. Perfectly synced. But now, imagine you're sitting right in the middle of that train, zooming forward. From your seat, you see the front boat first. Why? Because you're moving toward it, so its light reaches you sooner. And you're moving away from the back boat, so its light takes longer to catch up. Same 2 bolts, same train, same platform, but different observers, different experiences, different times. Einstein realized there is no same time. There is no universal now. Simultaneity? It's an illusion, a trick of perspective, a story your brain tells you because you've never moved fast enough to notice the seams. And then he went further. If you move fast enough, time slows down, not metaphorically, not emotionally, physically. A clock on a speeding rocket ticks slower than a clock on Earth. An astronaut circling the planet ages slower than her twin back home. We've tested this, proven it, measured it, with atomic clocks on airplanes, with particles in accelerators. With satellites orbiting overhead, their onboard clocks ticking just a hair slower than ours, needing constant correction so your GPS doesn't send you into a lake. Time bends, stretches, slows. For the fast mover, seconds grow longer, minutes stretch, hours yawn. It's called time dilation. And it's not science fiction, it's your phone's navigation system. It's particle physics. It's real. But Einstein wasn't done. He looked at gravity, not as a force like Newton did, but as a curve, a dent, a warp. Mass doesn't pull things. It bends the fabric of space and time around it, like a bowling ball dropped onto a trampoline. Roll a marble nearby, it doesn't get pulled toward the ball. It rolls along the curve. That's gravity. And time bends too. The closer you are to something heavy, A planet, a star, a black hole, the slower time flows. Yes, your head ages faster than your feet, not by much, not enough to notice. But if you stood on the surface of a neutron star where gravity is so fierce it crushes atoms into paste, your feet would age noticeably slower than your head. Time doesn't just slow for speed, it slows for weight, for gravity. Picture a black hole. Not the Hollywood kind, swirling, screaming, sucking everything into a glowing vortex. The real kind. A place where so much mass is crushed into so little space that gravity becomes a prison. Not even light can escape. And time, at the edge, the event horizon, time slows to a crawl. From far away, if you could watch someone fall toward it, you'd see them move slower and slower and slower until they seem to freeze, forever suspended at the brink, fading into red, then black, then nothing. But for them, they feel nothing strange. They cross the horizon in seconds. They don't stop. They don't freeze. They just vanish. From your perspective, time stopped for them. From theirs, time carried them forward, straight into the dark. Two truths, both real, both verified, both terrifying. This is where time stops being a backdrop and becomes a character, a shapeshifter, a trickster. It doesn't flow the same for everyone. It doesn't tick the same everywhere. It stretches for the fast. It drags for the heavy. It freezes at the edge of oblivion. It races in the void. There is no master clock, no cosmic metronome, no universal heartbeat. Time is personal, intimate, relative. And here's the quiet horror or the quiet wonder, depending on how you look at it. You are always in your own now. But someone else, they're in theirs. And if you move fast enough or stand close enough to something massive enough, your now and their now drift apart. Forever. You could zoom off in a starship at near light speed, tour the galaxy for what feels like 10 years, and come back to find your best friend old, gray, gone. Their life, lived in full. Yours, just beginning. Same universe, different times. We used to think time was a line. Past, present, future. Fixed, ordered, sacred. Einstein showed us it's more like a tapestry, woven, layered, bent, where now is not a moment but a slice, a sliver, a perspective. Your now overlaps with some people's past and others' future. There is no single timeline. There is only space-time, a four-dimensional block where every event, every birth, every supernova, every death already exists. We don't move through time. We move within it, like a finger tracing a path through a sculpture, feeling one curve at a time, never seeing the whole shape. This broke people, not just scientists, everyone. Because if time is relative, what is real? If your now isn't my now, what is shared? If the future is already there, just waiting for us to arrive, do we have free will? Or are we just reading a book that's already been written? Einstein himself wrestled with this. He called the distinction between past, present, and future a stubbornly persistent illusion. He didn't say it didn't feel real. He said it wasn't fundamentally real, and that changes everything. But here's the beautiful human part. Even though time bends, even though it stretches, even though your now and mine might not perfectly line up, we still meet. We still hold hands. We still laugh at the same joke. We still cry at the same funeral. We still say, I love you, and mean it, even though technically our atoms are experiencing time at slightly different rates. Relativity didn't destroy connection, it made it more miraculous. Because to sync up, to share a moment, a glance, a breath, across the warping, bending, stretching fabric of space-time? That's not physics, that's poetry. And yet, as beautiful as Einstein's time is, as elegant, as verified, as mind-bending, it still leaves a door open. A whisper. A question. Because in his universe, time still flows, still has direction, still leans forward, still remembers entropy, still carries cause before effect. A cup still shatters, it doesn't reassemble. You still remember yesterday, not tomorrow. Einstein didn't kill time's arrow, he just made it flexible. But what if time's arrow isn't real at all? What if, deep down, beneath the curves, beneath the speeds, beneath the gravity wells, time doesn't flow? What if it doesn't even exist? What if everything, past, present, future, is just there? Frozen, static, like frames in a film. And we're just the projector, flickering through them, inventing motion, inventing flow, inventing now. That's where things get stranger. That's where we leave Einstein's beautiful, bending universe and step into the quantum foam, where time doesn't just bend, it breaks. You stand at the edge of a cliff, not made of rock, not made of earth, but made of certainty. The ground beneath your feet? That's Einstein's universe. Predictable, bendable, beautiful. Time flows, maybe slower here, faster there, but it flows. Cause comes before effect. Memories live in the past. Dreams live in the future. Things make sense. Now step off, not into space, not into darkness, into the quantum world, where nothing is solid, where particles blink in and out of existence like fireflies in a storm, where an electron doesn't have a position until you look, where a cat can be alive and dead at the same time, and where time forgets its job. In this world, the world of the very, very small, time doesn't behave like a river. It doesn't even behave like a tapestry. It behaves like static, like noise, like a broken radio tuning between stations. Physicists don't talk about moments down here. They talk about probabilities, waves, superpositions, entanglements, and time. It's just there. A parameter, a letter in an equation, not a force, not a flow, not even a direction. In the core equations of quantum mechanics, the ones that describe how atoms hold together, how light dances with matter, how your phone's screen glows, there is no arrow, no past, no future, no before or after. The math works just as well if time runs backward. Flip the sign. Reverse the variable. The electron still jumps. The photon still winks. The atom still hums. It doesn't care. Imagine you're watching a film of two billiard balls colliding. Forward, one rolls, hits the other, sends it spinning. Backward, the second ball rolls back, hits the first, sends it retreating. Both look plausible. Now imagine that film is of an egg splattering on the floor. Forward it cracks, yolk spills, shell shards fly. Backward, the mess pulls itself together. Shell reassembles, yolk lifts off the tile, egg leaps back onto the counter. That looks wrong. Because of entropy. Because big things, eggs, people, galaxies, remember the direction of time. But tiny things, atoms, photons, electrons, they don't. They don't know forward from backward. They don't mourn the past. They don't anticipate the future. They just are. And they are in all possible states until something forces them to choose. This is where time starts to feel like a story we tell ourselves. A useful fiction, like up and down, which only makes sense because we live on a planet with gravity. or color, which only exists because our eyes evolved to see a narrow slice of light. Maybe time is the same. Maybe it's not fundamental. Maybe it emerges, like temperature emerges from the motion of molecules, or wetness emerges from the behavior of water molecules, from something deeper, something timeless. Some physicists, brave, strange, brilliant, are starting to whisper, what if time isn't real at all? Not even as a flexible, bending, relative thing, not even as a direction tied to entropy. What if it's an illusion, a side effect, a glitch in perception? In their equations, the ones that try to marry quantum mechanics with gravity to build a theory of everything, time often vanishes. It cancels out. It becomes redundant. It's not needed. The universe, at its most basic level, might be a vast, static network of relationships, events connected to events, not by before and after, but by this is related to that. Like a painting, not a movie. All of it, every moment, every birth, every supernova, every kiss, every death, already there, already painted. We don't move through it. We're part of it. And the feeling of time passing, that's just us. Our brains, our memories, our stubborn, beautiful, tragic need to turn stillness into story. There's a thought experiment, not proven, not testable yet, but haunting, called quantum retrocausality. It suggests that, in the quantum realm, the future might influence the past, not in a change history way, but in a set the stage way. Imagine you're about to measure a particle. Its state, whether it spins up or down, isn't decided until you look. But what if the choice of how you measure it reaches backward and nudges the particle into the right state before you even decide? It sounds like magic. It sounds like nonsense, but the math allows it. And in some interpretations, like the transactional interpretation, particles send waves forward and backward in time. Handshakes across eternity. Echoes from the future meeting, whispers from the past. It's not time travel, it's time conversation. And then there's entanglement. Two particles, born together, separated by galaxies, still act as one. Change the spin of one, the other knows, instantly. No signal, no delay, no respect for the speed of light. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But what if it's not spooky? What if it's because, at the quantum level, distance and time don't mean what we think? What if those particles aren't communicating across space and time? What if they're still touching in a deeper layer, where space and time haven't yet split apart, where everything is now? This is where language fails, because we have no words for outside of time. We think in sequences, in stories, in causes and effects. But the quantum world, it doesn't sequence, it superposes, it entangles. It exists in all possibilities until observation collapses it into one. And observation, that's where we come in. Consciousness, measurement, choice. Some say, and this is controversial, not mainstream, but whispered in quiet corners of physics departments, that time only becomes real when something observes it. When a mind says, this happened, then that. Until then, it's all just potential. You might be thinking, this is too strange, too far, too abstract. But you live in this world. Every time you turn on a light, photons leap from the bulb, not as particles with a schedule, but as waves of probability, deciding at the last possible moment where to land on your wall. Every time your phone connects to a tower, electrons tumble through barriers they shouldn't be able to cross, guided by equations that treat time as a flat, directionless line. Every time an MRI scans your body, it's reading the spin of protons inside you, spins that exist in multiple states at once until the machine asks them to choose. You are touching the timeless every day. And yet, here's the ache. Here's the human heart of it. Even if time is an illusion, even if the universe is a frozen block, even if the future is already written and the past is still whispering, you still feel it. You still grieve. You still hope. You still love someone and watch them age. You still hold a baby and wonder how fast they'll grow. You still lie awake at 3 a.m., haunted by yesterday, terrified of tomorrow. The quantum world doesn't comfort you. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't care that your mother is sick. It doesn't know your name. So what do we do with this? Do we throw away time? Do we say, it's all fake, it's all math, nothing matters? No. Because even if time emerges, it emerges for us. Even if it's not fundamental, it's fundamental to us. Like color, like music, like love. None of those things live in the equations of quantum fields, but they live in us. And that's real enough. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke once wrote, "Live the questions now." Maybe that's the answer. Not to solve time, not to pin it down, not to declare it real or fake, but to live inside the mystery, to let it humble you, to let it awe you, to let it remind you that even if the universe is timeless at its core, you are not. You are temporary. You are fleeting. You are a flicker. And that's what makes you precious. Because here's the quiet miracle. In a universe that may not need time, we invented it. We felt it. We named it. We measured it. We mourned it. We loved inside it. We told stories across it. We built cathedrals to mark it. We wrote symphonies to honor it. We held hands across it. We whispered forever, knowing it was a lie, and meant it anyway. That's not weakness. That's courage. That's beauty. That's what it means to be human, in a cosmos that may not care, but gave us the gift of caring anyway. So when you hear that time might not be real, smile and keep living like it is, because for you, it is. You're standing at the edge of the ocean, not metaphorically, really. Bare feet in wet sand, salt on your lips, wind tugging your hair. The tide is going out, slow, patient, inevitable. Each wave pulls a little more sand from under your toes. You try to dig in. You try to hold your ground. But the water doesn't care. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't love you. It just follows its rhythm. Its ancient, unbreakable law. And one day, not today, not tomorrow, but one day, you'll step back and the tide will keep going, long after you're gone. That's what time feels like now. Not the frantic ticking of a deadline, not the ache of a missed moment, not the stretch of a childhood summer, but something deeper, something quieter, something final. Because if you followed this journey, from your heartbeat to the birth of stars, to Einstein's bending clocks, to the quantum whisper where time forgets itself, you've arrived at the last question. Not what is time, but what happens when it ends. Scientists have a name for it, the heat death of the universe. It sounds gentle, peaceful, like falling asleep. It's not. It's the last victory of entropy. The final sigh. After trillions upon trillions of years, after the last star flickers out, after the last black hole evaporates into nothing, after even protons, those stubborn ancient building blocks of matter decay into dust, the universe will be cold. Not winter cold, not space cold, absolute cold. No heat, no motion, no difference, no up, no down, no here, no there. just uniform, a vast, silent, endless gray. No stars, no planets, no light, no life, no clocks, no heartbeats, no memories, no questions. And time? What does time do when there's nothing left to change? When every possible event has already happened? When entropy has won, not with fire, not with fury, but with perfect, total sameness? Does time keep ticking? Into what? For whom? There's no one left to count, no one left to care, no one left to say now. Some physicists say time stops, not like a clock running down, but like a story with no next page. If nothing changes, is there time? If no event follows another, is there sequence? If no observer remains, is there experience? They don't know. They argue. Some say time becomes meaningless, like north at the North Pole. Others say it keeps flowing into an eternity of nothing, a blank canvas with no painter, a song with no singer, a clock with no hands. But here's the twist. What if time never began? What if the Big Bang wasn't the beginning? What if it was just a moment, one in an endless cycle, a bounce, a breath, a pulse? Some theories, like the cyclic model or conformal cyclic cosmology, suggest the universe doesn't have a start or an end. It just renews, collapses, explodes. Again, again, again. Time doesn't die. It resets, like a wave returning to shore, like a season turning, like a heartbeat. And what if, and this is the quietest, strangest thought of all, time was never real to begin with? What if the universe is timeless? What if past, present, and future are all equally real, stacked like pages in a book that never closes? What if now is just where your consciousness happens to be, reading one sentence while the rest of the story waits, patient, complete? In that view, the block universe, the eternalist view, nothing is lost. Your childhood, still there. The last words your grandmother whispered, still there. Not gone, not faded, just elsewhere in the book. And death, not an end, just a turning of the page. You might think this is comforting. It's not really, because you still feel the tide pulling. You still feel the clock ticking. You still feel the weight of choices not made, loves not spoken, moments let slip. Knowing the past still exists somewhere doesn't bring back the sound of your father's laugh. Knowing the future is already written doesn't make your fears quieter. You live in the flicker, in the fragile, fleeting, luminous now. And that's where love lives, where courage lives, where regret lives, where hope lives. So what do we do? With this knowledge, with this weight, with this wonder, do we curl up? Do we surrender? Do we say, if time is an illusion, why try? No, we do the opposite. We love harder. We listen closer. We stay longer. We forgive faster. We dance while the music plays. We hold hands while the light lasts. We plant trees we'll never sit under. We write poems no one may read. We whisper, I'm here, to the people who need to hear it, because that's the rebellion, that's the miracle, that's the human answer to the silence of the cosmos. Time may bend, time may break, time may be an echo, time may be a lie, but your hand in mine, that's real. Your laugh in this room, that's real. The way you cried yesterday, that's real. The way you'll rise tomorrow, that's real. And here's the secret, the one they don't teach in physics class. Time didn't give us meaning. We gave time meaning. We took this strange, slippery, bending, breaking, possibly illusory thing, and we filled it with stories, with songs, with bread baked for neighbors, with letters written by candlelight, with graves visited in rain, with vows whispered in trembling voices, with art made from pain, with science born from wonder. We turned time into a cathedral, not because it asked us to, but because we needed to. So when you feel time slipping, when the years blur, when the losses pile, when the future feels heavy, don't fight it. Don't curse it. Don't beg it to stop. Lean into it. Let it carry you, not as a prisoner, but as a participant, a co-author, a witness, a lover of moments. Because in the end, whether time is fundamental or emergent, real or imagined, eternal or fleeting, the only thing that matters is what you did with it. Not how much you had, not how well you measured it, not how perfectly you spent it, but how deeply you lived inside it. The universe may forget your name, the stars may burn out, the equations may erase the arrow. But right now, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this fragile, trembling, luminous now, you are here. Alive, feeling, wondering, loving. That's the answer. Not in the math, not in the theories, not in the end, but here, now, with your hands full of moments and your heart full of time. You've walked with me from the hospital room to the edge of the quantum foam, from Newton's clock to the last sigh of the cosmos. You didn't just learn about time, you felt it, you questioned it, you mourned it, you loved it. And that's the point. Time isn't a puzzle to solve, it's a mystery to live. So go, live it, all of it, the messy, the quiet, the loud, the broken, the beautiful. You won't get more, but you don't need more, you just need this. Now.